Grinding Gear Games just announced Path of Exile 3.24 Necropolis in full, and it has a serious problem. It's going to absolutely destroy the lives of oh so many exiles, especially once you hear all the ridiculously good changes hidden in the patch notes. Not only did Grinding Gear Games implement a bunch of long-awaited quality of life changes into Path of Exile 1 3.24, they packed so much meat into this expansion, I'm confident in saying this is the largest expansion in the history of Path of Exile 1. Step aside Path of Exile 2, formerly known as 400, your time is now far off. Enter Scene 3.24, which should definitely be known as Path of Exile 1 400. Please sit back and let me rapidly regurgitate everything we learned during the Necropolis content reveal and patch notes into a video that will hopefully be less than 8 minutes. For all your sakes, not for mine. Fellow exiles, welcome. I am Try. Let's talk some Path of Exile 1 Necropolis. Let's begin with the juicy stuff from the patch notes. Maybe you read them. Maybe you read tweets about them. Maybe you were going in blind, clicked on this video, and are now forced to watch until the very end for the algorithm. Regardless, here they are. The following currency items now have a stack size of 20. Exalted Orb, Regal Orb, Divine Orb, Stacked Deck, Crusader's Exalted Orb, Redeemer's Exalted Orb, Hunter's Exalted Orb, Warlord's Exalted Orb, Enkindling Orb, Instilling Orb, Tainted Exalted Orb, and Eldritch Exalted Orb. This is a huge crafting and trading change. Thank you so much, GGG. Added 14 new unique items, and we know at least 7 of them are from the Uber bosses. Alternate Arc unique items can now be converted to account-bound microtransactions using the new /convert race reward chat command. The item will be destroyed, and you will be granted an account-bound microtransaction that changes the appearance of an item of the same type to match that of the destroyed item. My goodness gracious, the stocks on standard of these unique art items are rising by the second. The Witch has received audio dialogue for part 2 of Path of Exile. Now that is exciting. We get to hear more about the Witch's journey, hopefully some more dark details about her background and how much she wants to destroy the gods. There are really only a few classes left now without dialogue, and hey, with the delay of PoE 2, we're probably going to get them all before it releases. Added a new trade notification sound and increased the volume of the party invitation notification sound. Are you telling me after all these years I'm going to have to adjust to a new sound? I'm in. The 5th slot in the map device is now unlocked upon completing a non-Valdos Tier 17 map. Oh my goodness, we don't have to do Legion anymore. Fantastic, and we'll learn more about Tier 17 maps in a little bit, my fellow exiles. Voidstones each now provide Tier 16 maps dropped in areas have 0.5% chance to become a Tier 17 map for each socketed Voidstone. So that means if we have all 4 Voidstones, we will have a 2% chance to get a Tier 17 map as long as a Tier 16 map was going to drop. That seems like pretty good odds for these crazy maps that, once again, we will talk about soon. The number of additional bosses summoned by the Destructive Play Atlas Keystone passive is now higher if there are fewer monsters remaining in the map. No exact numbers here, but they are encouraging people to not completely boss rush. I'm good with that. Essence monoliths in white maps can now spawn up to a maximum tier of Screaming, while those in yellow or red maps can spawn up to a maximum tier of Shrieking. Oh no, the Essence strat has been nerfed. You'll have to go past whites now to earn a profit. How unfortunate. Omens are now offered as ritual rewards. Here's me still holding out hope that we're gonna find that which was taken and the big baddie of Affliction League in ritual. Probably not going to happen though. The unique Cortex synthesized map can no longer drop from Atlas map bosses or be obtained as a reward from other League content. Synthesized map bosses and Maven's Invitation, The Forgotten, now have a chance to drop a unique Cortex synthesized map. How interesting. Can we still get the Cortex map from Kirak though? We'll have to see. The Soul Eater buff has been reworked. There is now a maximum number of 45 souls that can be consumed, with each soul providing 5% increased attack and cast speed. For monsters, this buff also provides 2% less damage taken per soul consumed. 1 soul is lost every 0.5 seconds if you have not gained any souls recently. If I'm correct, this is a nerf to Soul Eater. which is great to hear for us exiles who seem to have at least 10 Soul Eater rares in every single map. Cleave of Rage now has plus 0.1 meters to radius per 5 rage at all gem levels, previously 3 per rage. Grinding your games, this was supposed to be my League starter build guide video, but you've nerfed it by about 30% in terms of the range. It's okay, I'm still gonna make a build guide on it. The Ralakesh's Impatience unique boots no longer provide 30% increased move speed. This change affects existing versions of this item. Here is the huge Ralakesh nerf. Looks like we'll have to find the move speed somewhere besides our boots. Stacked decks, Diviner Strongboxes, and Divination cards obtained as rewards from various content can no longer drop Divination cards for boss-exclusive unique items. A big W. This league really is going to be the bossing league, as we will find out in a little bit. The Void is now considered a boss-exclusive divination card. It now has a chance to drop from the Shaper, the Elder, and the Maven. Oh, those gamblers are going to be spamming those bosses now. Into the Eldritch Horrors we go. Scrolls of Wisdom can now be used on items that are corrupted. As a result of this, most items that previously dropped identified now drop unidentified. Grinding your games. Why did you do this? Please, someone in the comments explain to me why they did this. Rare monster item bonus mechanics are now rarer, and the following item bonus mechanics have been removed. Items dropped are converted to gems, items dropped are converted to scarabs, items dropped have all white sockets, items dropped are duplicated, slain rare monster gives increased experience, and slain rare monster gives increased gem experience. No, not that last one. I used to level my gems so much faster. Oh, this is going to be a little rough. Lycia's Lightning Wave skill has received new visual effects. Ah, good job, GGG. I'm very proud of you on this one, considering I've died to this oh so many times. Added a notification for when you unlock a new map device crafting option. Well, that's cool, because I usually miss that almost every single time. With the juicy information from the patch notes out of the way, let's dive into the actual content reveal and the big ticket features of Path of Exile 3.24, actually 4.00, Necropolis. In Path of Exile Necropolis, we will help Undertaker Aramor lay the spirits of the Eternal Empire to rest and experiment with their souls to create powerful items. This huge March expansion introduces the Necropolis Challenge League with a set of 40 regular challenges and 8 Ruthless challenges with their own unique cosmetic microtransaction rewards, a plethora of changes to the vast endgame of PoE, including new Tier 17 maps and bosses, and a bunch of new transfigured gems. So first, let's talk about the Necropolis Challenge League. In the Necropolis League, the wrathful spirits have begun to haunt the monsters of Rayclast, unleashing their ancient fury and sorrow onto the world. The Undertaker provides us with the Lantern of Aramor, a powerful family heirloom which illuminates the spirits haunting monsters throughout Rayclast. With it, the Undertaker hopes to employ us to rid Rayclast of this menace and further his cryptic cause. So essentially, the Lantern allows us to manipulate the spirits of the monsters in Rayclast, letting us configure which monsters are haunted. It's gonna be smart of us to take our time with our decisions, for the spirits are not forgiving and incredibly powerful. This especially is going to showcase which builds are struggling as they go through the campaign into maps, and with the revamped campaign, with all the new little hidden puzzle pieces, this could be very interesting. Essentially, this is allowing us to build our own monsters, giving certain packs and monsters in maps various modifiers. We might give one monster pack type 30% increased damage, while we might give another skills fire 3 additional projectiles. But we can manipulate which packs get which modifiers, so we can make the map very hard for ourselves, or we can be intelligent and give the proj mod to a creature that doesn't have any projectiles. Then, of course, we can bury the dead, bury the creatures that we kill. The Undertaker's mysterious soul experiments can coalesce into powerful items, my exiles. We can take the corpses of haunted monsters to the Necropolis, bury them in one of the many graves in the cemetery, and then exorcise them to forge items from their souls. And of course, we can trade these coffins. And the items that we form are incredibly powerful. It seems to be a mix of bestiary and harvest and even a little bit of expedition. These items, seriously exiles, look tremendously strong. All the ones previewed look great, and this looks intuitive. fun, and almost limitless in its possibilities. It also appears that there are Necropolis-specific affixes that can only appear on these items. Some examples I've seen are +1 maximum charges on helmets, and recouping upwards of 36% of damage taken as life. Kinda crazy stuff. Additionally, we can create special haunted monsters that have devoted spirits blessed on top of them. Devoted spirits cause monsters to grant us with a wide variety of different rewards, such as dropping more and better items, spawning shrines that grant buffs, and allowing us to find an NPC that gives us a unique item. This is very, very similar. Actually, I think it's exactly the same as that vendor that we could find in Affliction League in the Wildwood Thicket, the Nameless Seer. The Necropolis expansion also introduces 14 new unique items, as we mentioned earlier, 5 of which are exclusive to Necropolis League, and some of them look incredibly powerful, my fellow exiles. One more extra little thing here with Necropolis League before we head into the endgame changes. We may also find special monster packs trapped within Embers of the Allflame, a powerful relic of Rayclast, which we should know all about from our Act 1 gameplay. We may place these in the Lantern of Aramor to encounter abnormal monsters that yield special rewards, like greatly increased experience, making them drop Val Timeless Splinters, making them drop Splinters of Tool, making them drop tattoos. Yes, tattoos from Trial of the Ancestors are back in the game thanks to this mechanic, and we can even turn these pack monsters into harmless frogs. They don't need to drop any items, we can just turn them into frogs. Okay, now that is it for Necropolis League itself. Everything else after this is now in addition to the core game. The first new thing, the big new thing, is facing a new tier of endgame difficulty. Path of Exile Necropolis introduces a new tier of endgame difficulty which tests our characters in new ways. Tier 17 maps. These maps feature a set of new bosses, more powerful monsters, and new rewards. We can access the absolute pinnacle of Path of Exile's most difficult bosses by completing these maps and proving our worth. Now, we saw a few examples of this stuff on the live stream. We saw Uber Katarina. We saw Uber Lycia. We even saw an Uber synthesized boss empowered with heist monster power. I mean, it's just so wild, everybody. That's 5 new boss fights and 5 new maps. And these maps are not like your normal Path of Exile maps. These have ridiculous numbers of modifiers, unique modifiers that we've never seen before. Some examples include monsters have +1 maximum power charges, monsters gain 187% of their physical damage as extra damage of a random element, and buffs on players expire 100% faster. Additionally, there are some that brick certain builds, like player skills which throw mines throw 1 fewer mine, player skills which throw traps throw 1 fewer trap, and rare monsters have volatile cores. Some of these mods are absolutely ridiculous. But not only are Tier 17 maps being added, Tier 17 maps now drop the new keys that are required to face the Uber bosses. And that's right, they are the stepping stone to Uber bosses now, because the keystones unlocking Uber bosses no longer exist on the tree. Instead, keys to them, fragments to fight them, now spawn in these Tier 17 maps. And we must get 5 fragments to open a portal to an Uber boss, whether that's the Eater of Worlds, or the Searing Exar, or Uber Elder, or Uber Maven. We're going to need to fight these Tier 17 maps to actually access the most challenging bosses in all of Path of Exile. And really, these Tier 17 maps are going to be ridiculously hard challenges. I mean, there are apparently packs of Brutuses. Bruti? I'm not quite sure what we should call them, but they're going to be absolutely wild, folks. Next up, some more endgame stuff. We can unlock additional Atlas trees. In this expansion, we may unlock access to multiple Atlas passive skill trees, which can be used to enhance our endgame experience to its maximum potential. We may earn up to 2 extra trees by progressing through the Atlas, and we may choose our desired playstyles for each endgame map. We can swap between these seamlessly on the map device, in the Atlas passive skill tree itself. We can even name each of our skill trees. Now that is quality of life. One of the biggest changes ever. This is going to help everyone in PoE, especially those SSF players out there. Okay, we have one final massive endgame system, and that is the reworked scarabs and the removal of Sextants. Yes, sextants are gone, and now scarabs are the new way we can enhance our endgame maps, and they are reworked entirely. They are nothing like they were before. We may no longer add master missions to our actual maps because we can use scarabs to do that instead, so we don't earn daily missions anymore. Instead, we find scarabs that do things like area contains a mirror of delirium, or ultimatum encounter rewards an area offering catalysts will offer inscribed ultimatums instead. Or this absolute banger, ultimatum encounters an area will always lead to a unique boss if possible. This stuff is wild, and you know, they haven't even shown us all of them. This is a massive wait a sec. Oh, I have to read this one off to you. Divination cards which drop in area have a 20% chance to drop as a full stack instead. This is just absolutely wild, and it's going to open up the endgame drastically for every single type of player. Plus, a lot of these scarabs seem uber valuable, everyone. The last huge gameplay addition are the new transfigured gems. Of the new transfigured gems, a few cool looking ones are the Tornado of Elemental Turbulence, Ice Shot of Penetration, and of course, Poisonous Concoction of something. We will find out during the teaser week. And then of course, there were a new set of supporter packs that actually didn't happen last league. This new set is mind-blowing. One of the hideouts is literally on the back of a giant space turtle flying through the void. I might actually need to drop $90 to get this. I can't believe I'm saying it, but it's a huge possibility. All right, and that's it, my fellow exiles. That is a breakdown of PoE 3.24 and why it will be a serious problem for all of us. I feel like this league is going to pull everyone in the PoE community even further away from reality, causing us to go into the depths of the void and just spend all of our time chasing those tier 17 maps, fighting those new uber bosses, and really investing into our Path of Exile characters so that we can justify buying the $90 pack so we can have a hideout with a giant turtle floating through space. Yeah, that's it. That's the video. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you everyone for your tremendous support as of late. I'm talking to you patrons, I'm talking to you subscribers on Twitch and my members on YouTube. You are all the absolute best, and I cannot wait to bring you more Path of Exile 1 and Path of Exile 2 content in the future. With the delay of Path of Exile 2, there's going to be a heck of a lot of Path of Exile 1 and Path of Exile 2 news for the next 6 months. Remember, I do have my Jonathan Rogers interview on Monday, so tune into that if you'd like to hear more about PoE 2. That's what we're going to be diving into, and I have some questions after my latest foray into PoE 2. Anyways, that's all for this video. Ala Moana, Exiles.